After each town council meeting, the staff sits down and records a quick recap, highlighting the public meeting. The complete meeting can be found on the Town of Avon, Indiana's YouTube page, but this podcast is designed to give you a simple overview to help keep you informed about what is happening. The Avon, Indiana Town Council meets twice a month at Avon Town Hall. A full schedule of their public meetings can be found online at avonindiana.gov.
Hey, everybody, it's Jared Waite, Communications Director for the Town of Avon, and I am joined by
Ryan Cannon, Town Manager.
And we have another person in here,
Suzanne Hardy, Executive Assistant to Ryan Cannon.
Town Manager.
The Town Manager, excuse me.
There you go. You got the whole thing. The whole thing just kind of goes together. Suzanne, this is your first time on the official podcast, isn't it?
It is.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Don't be nervous.
All right.
You'll be great.
Okay.
You're going to be fantastic. All right. So this is a quick recap of the town council meeting that happened last night, which was January 25th, 2024. Not a whole bunch on the agenda, but Ryan, if you can give us that quick overview of what happened, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. We had a couple of items, like Jared said, nothing super lengthy or overly important, I don't think. But the first thing on there was in the consent agenda, we did have our adoption of our EDC annual report. So for those of you who don't know what EDC is, it's Economic Development Commission. And while you may think that the Economic Development Commission is responsible for economic development, it's actually really not, which is kind of confusing to everybody in the world. But they're more responsible for redevelopment, and then they're also a funding mechanism for bonding. And so actually our Redevelopment Commission is the one who does economic development work. So they're a little educational piece out there for you. So the EDC is required to provide a report to the town council before February 1st. So they provided that report and the council adopted it. Nothing very exciting in there. But if you're interested, go on the website and you can see the actual report. The next item we had was the police department had a contract for the hiring process. The police department does have several vacancies. So if you're interested in joining our Avon Police Department, which is outstanding, be looking forward to. Actually, the process is open right now. So you can be applying, go to our website and apply to join our police department. This was specifically a contract for the hiring process. So they have several steps in the process, evaluating, doing physical testing, as well as there is a test that you actually take. So they do contract with a company that assists them in going through that process. So the town council did approve that contract. It was, I believe, about $6,000 for them to basically administer their process. The next item is a resolution, which was approve donation and accept right-of-way dedication. From time to time, the town encounters complaints where residents may ask us to fix drainage problems. The town cannot trespass on people's property to fix drainage problems. So a lot of times if you see drainage problems along the road, it may be because the town doesn't have property or land rights to be able to correct those problems. It's not because the town doesn't want to. So a lot of these situations when people have issues, we tell them if they're willing to donate the right-of-way that the town will actually make the improvements and improve the drainage system. So this resolution was accepting 2 parcels that donated some right-of-way to the town in order to fix some drainage improvements. And then there were 2 other parcels which are at Harvest Landing. One was from Costco and the other was from Ken Marr. And INDOT is working to install a signal. It's a partial signal. So those of you listening who hate all the signals on 36, this will actually function a little bit differently. It's a half signal, and so it will actually help facilitate traffic movement between the other 2 full intersections. But INDOT needed a little bit of right-of-way, and so the Costco and the developer donated that right-of-way. So the town council did have to accept those donations and dedicate them as right-of-way, and they approved that 4-0. The last thing we had on the agenda was we had 2 ordinances. The first one was engineering fees for plan review, and the town utilizes a consultant to do our plan review, and they pass that cost on directly to the developer. So if a developer applies, then the town actually discharges it, and its actual cost basically of what it takes to review certain petitions. And so the town council actually did something a little unusual. They waived the rules and approved of that, which makes that go into effect immediately. So like I said, that did get approved 4-0. And so we'll post all that information to our Plan Commission packets and get on our website for anyone interested in developing in the town of Avon. The last thing we had then was an ordinance. It was a amendment to our salary ordinance. And I've talked a lot about salary ordinance in the past, and the town has to, in order to pay anybody, has to pass an ordinance that says what people can pay. And so the police department was asking for officer in charge pay. Essentially, there are times in a shift when a sergeant or lieutenant may not be on. And so they want to have another senior leadership person basically be available to be the officer in charge on duty. And so in order to compensate that officer for having some supervisory ability that they wouldn't normally have as a patrol officer, they wanted to compensate them for that additional responsibility that they're having. It's a pretty nominal fee. It's $2,500 a year, and will be paid as duty pay. And we have 4 shifts, so the total cost to the town would be $10,000 for that. The town council again waived the rules and did a final reading on this and did approve it 4-0. So that will go into effect, and our police department will implement that. That was the whole agenda. That was it all.
That's all that happened?
That's all that happened.
Nothing else happened.
Not
at
a
all.
single other thing happened the entire meeting.
That's right.
I think
not
there's
right.
other things that happened. Before we get to the other stuff, though, I did have a question. Suzanne was writing down some questions, and I want to give her credit for this. You were talking briefly before about INDOT needing to do some work and needing to obtain that right of way, that the land, if you will, to be able to do certain things. And you talked about a half signal. Can you, and I know that they haven't fully designed everything out and we don't know exactly how it's going to look, but what's the difference between a half signal and like a full signal?
It's half the size.
Okay. That's why you're the town manager.
No, so it will control.
It goes to red to yellow, and that's it. There is no green.
There's no green. No, it'll be coordinated with the signal at County Road 900, and so basically it will give the ability for people to turn left. It's really only for the left turning movement. We want to protect people who are going eastbound and wanting to turn northbound to go into the Costco or into Harvest Landing, that development there. And so it's more of it'll only function when there's people there and who actually want to be able to turn left. And it will time itself with 900. So when 900 is stopped, they will allow people to then turn left. And so it'll really be only a light for people trying to do that left, and it'll be for people who may be trying to come westbound, but eastbound it would continue to allow it to move. And so it's a little complicated in terms of traffic. And so INDOT did come and do a whole presentation for the town council, and they do these simulations and they put little pictures of cars and they show actually how it actually improves the flow of traffic. And what it does is it really separates out. It pulls the left turning movement into turn lanes. It'll actually relieve some of the pressure on County Road 900 where there's already a lot of people doing left turn movements. So we're trying to dissipate that traffic, but it'll actually help the through traffic move better on 36. And so I know that it's a kind of a confusing concept, but if people are patient, INDOT's really doing this as a demonstration project. It may be something that we'll see along the corridor, but I know everyone's first response to when they hear another traffic signal on 36 is they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want another traffic signal on 36. But
yeah, this
should actually help the situation.
Well, and in the past council meetings and some other areas or at Plan Commission meetings, there have been individuals that have come in and talked about the safety of 900. And now that Costco has grown and it's bringing more traffic and all these different restaurants and different opportunities, that 900 is, it has. We can't say that it hasn't, but there's more traffic now. And it sounds like there's multiple steps that have to be taken, but this is that first step. Let's figure out how we can make this as safe as possible right now. And a lot of those comments have always come back to, well, when I'm going southbound on 900, there's a curve and sometimes you don't see people and people trying to get across. So it's very much the reason this is going in is safety focused.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's what a couple of things. And Jared, that's a great point that it's not just Costco, it's some of the other development, new hotels, Walmart, that it has just increased the traffic on 900. So the town's doing some other improvements. We're going to build a roundabout there as well. So it's kind of the combination of that roundabout, this traffic signal. These are all steps the town is taking to help improve the safety in that area as a result of increased commercial activity and traffic that's kind of come along with it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, when is the next town council meeting?
The next town council meeting will be February 8th at 7 p.m.
Perfect. I guess that does it. That wraps it up. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, there's more.
There is more. Yeah. Suzanne is in here. She is joining us because last night we also had a celebration. Suzanne, do you want to tell everybody what that celebration was about and what it's for? All those good details.
Well, 25 years ago, our town manager joined the town of Avon. I believe he joined as the director of public works.
I was actually the assistant to
town
the
manager.
not the assistant town manager, the assistant to the town manager.
He was the Dwight
You did
Schrute.
me?
I was.
You were me?
No, I was more, I would say Dwight Schrute is
Schrute.
more of an accurate. I mostly just did like whatever kind of projects the town manager needed assistance with at the time. And so I did a lot of research projects, and I did the town's first website. I actually researched and created the town court, which is kind of funny because I'm the one who researched and started the town court, but then I was also involved with the closing of the town court. So I was on both ends of the spectrum for that process. So that's kind of the stuff I started out doing. And then I became the public works director after that.
And that's when everything changed.
That's when it
Everything.
all went downhill.
So last night we had a small little get together.
Mhm.
A few close friends, family came out to the council meeting. If you want to watch that whole thing happen, you can watch Ryan's face when the door opened and his family walked in, and it was this combination of how dare you, but also I've never been more proud of you all. It was this weird seesaw thing that was happening. But I thought it would be great to just spend a little bit of time. We always talk about what's going on with the town, and I know that you are let's talk about the town person, but 25 years working for the town of Avon, 25 years in any organization is a long time. Angel was sitting in here. Unfortunately, she's not doing this podcast because she's not feeling well, but she said, he's been working here longer than I've been alive.
It's crazy.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Angel will pay for that later.
Note that in her review for
Yeah.
later. I know Suzanne's probably got some stories. She's got some insight. She's been working here for 5 years now.
5 years.
5 years. I'm gonna just tee off this. I want to spend a little bit of time. We don't have to spend a lot of time, but just like 45, maybe an hour and a half, talking about the last 25 years. So you talked a little bit about, what you did when you first started here. How have things changed in the last 25 years? Like, how have things evolved from the town side, from the town's relationship with the community? Just 25 years, a quarter of a century. How have things evolved?
It's crazy. I think I tell people this all the time, that people fail to remember what things were like before.
Yeah.
And so it's easy once you do it. And I'll use the Dan Jones widening as a really good example. Like, do people even remember what Dan Jones looked like last year? And they probably don't. They remember what it looks like today and when they drive on it. And so all this progress that we've made over the years, I think, especially in new people move into town and other things happen and people move out of town. And so just the progress that we've made as a community is crazy, because I remember, and I don't remember who I was telling the story to the other day, but I was telling someone the story about when my first year I was here, and the town had just taken over responsibility for doing our own public works from the county. In the town, our first year, our paving project, which I can't even call a paving project, we did one full depth patch. For those of you who know what a full depth patch is, you basically cut an area that's like a pothole, that's a square, you dig it out and you replace it. We did one patch that was $40,000 on County Road 100 North. And we took photos, and we did it was like a groundbreaking. It was like this huge celebration of the town. And now, we spend $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year. And we it's changed so much from where we started to how far we've come that I don't even think people recognize the changes. And I think of things like, if people remember who've lived here a long time, we we used to have 4-way stops at 100 North in Dan Jones and 100 South in Dan Jones. And when I started working here, the traffic was terrible. And then we put up temporary traffic signals. They were just temporary. They were like strung across, no turn lanes, no nothing, but they did have lights. And those were supposed to last for like a year, and we had them for like 3 or 4 years. And then in like the mid 2000s, we built roundabouts there, which now everybody just, for 15 years they've been roundabouts. So everybody just thinks, oh, those were roundabouts. And I always laugh when people say traffic is bad, because traffic situation in Avon is so much better now than it was back in those days. I know we've grown a traffic a lot as well, but really what the town has accomplished in a relatively short period of time in the life of a town is pretty incredible. It's a big change.
No, that makes total sense. Suzanne.
Yes.
So when you were hired, can you give us the quick recap, if you will, of how Suzanne came to join the town? Because your experience getting hired here at the town was directly with Ryan, right?
It was. I actually applied for his assistant's position when he was the director of public works.
Not the assistant to, but it was the full-fledged.
I was the assistant to the director of public works, which was Ryan at that time, or I would have been. Unfortunately, I was on vacation. Fortunately, I was on vacation with my family at Disney World.
Oh, Disney World, the happiest place on earth.
The happiest place on earth. And Ryan Cannon called me on my last day there and told me that I did not get the job.
Happiest place on earth. Now the saddest place.
Destroyed by Ryan Cannon.
However, he did tell me that he thought I would be perfect for another position within the town. And I joined the town as the administrative assistant to the planning and building department and receptionist.
Nice.
When he became the town manager, we had conversations, and I was able to move to be his executive assistant from there. So it's been a good 5 years.
That's fantastic. And it's been fun to talk to the other staff that have been here. Some of them have been here for a year, and some of them have been here for 24, 25, 26 years, and get their perspectives on kind of how you've impacted them in your leadership style. And I want to throw this question out to you, Ryan, which is leadership and leadership development is a big thing for you. And it's a big thing in the last couple of years that you've implemented as you've taken over as town manager to make sure that your leadership team has the skill sets and the tools and the knowledge. Some of us do really well, and some of us struggle with some of those areas. But what has been kind of your guiding light on leadership? Like, how do you approach leading, not only because you're leading department heads, you're leading employees, but you're also leading council members that rotate out frequently. And you're also leading community members that when they come, 90% of the time, they're not super excited to talk to you. I mean, it's more times than not, they're not happy to have a conversation, and it takes a unique perspective. But from a leadership standpoint, how do you view what you do here at the town? It's a big question.
It is a big question. Well, I don't know. I always think leadership is like a weird thing to describe. And I know, like you said, Jared, we've participated in Bill Westfall provides a training, the Westfall Gallagher group, that it's really it's a management training, but it's also a leadership training, in that you have to understand that everybody has different personalities and everybody processes information differently. And that means you have to, I know this gets thrown out all the time, that we should treat everybody the same. But the reality is you can't treat everybody the same, because everybody's different and everybody reacts differently to different information. And so I have found that training, that leadership training, to be really good. And I've encouraged our staff to do it. It's really a focus on treating everybody with respect and appreciating them for the things that they do. And so I would say that's really probably shaped my leadership philosophy of, being a servant leader and working for your employees and supporting your employees. And I think one of the sayings that training gave us is, your best leader, your best boss or manager, whatever word you want to use, is those that empower their employees to be able to do their jobs without you. And so that's something that I've always tried to implement. It's not always easy. Like you said, people aren't always nice. And especially at a town level, I think that kind of leadership training is invaluable because this job is thankless. Like you said, nobody ever calls and says, man, you town of Avon, you're doing a great job. And we do get it every once in a while, but maybe like 3 times a year.
And we're very grateful for those 3 times a year.
For the entire staff. That's just not one employee.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time, which is also a sign that we're doing good things. If we don't get a lot of people complaining, that also means most people are happy. And if people aren't mad at us, we're not getting a lot either. So it works a little bit both ways, but it's definitely a thankless job. And I also always say that local government is different than the federal government, but I feel like a lot of people want to project their frustrations with federal government to their local government, and it's really unfair. Employees at the town of Avon work really hard. They don't make a ton of money. They're underappreciated. Almost everybody who works at this town is doing it not because they think they're going to get rich doing these jobs. They're doing it because they want to make a difference to their community. And that's something we look for when we hire people, and they want to do something that is helping people, not just that they're making a lot of money. And so nobody here is making a lot of money. I can guarantee that. And Jared and Suzanne are both smiling, and they can tell you that they're not. So,
which leads me into our next question. Suzanne and I wanted to talk to you about.
Our reviews are still coming up, aren't they?
Yeah. I think that. Well, actually, Suzanne.
Well played on the podcast. Good job, guys.
No, I just want to say that as a leader, you are very good at your leadership with us. You are thankful, and you thank us on a regular basis, and you respect us like you said a good leader should. And that's one of the qualities that I genuinely appreciate about you as a boss.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Good. That'll work really well into your review. So well done.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah. No, to actually follow up with that, Suzanne, do you, from a team member standpoint, I hate to use the word employee, but from a team member standpoint, do you see those changes? Do you see how the training that he's kind of guided people through, how that's kind of affected dynamics, how it's affected you? I'm not asking for you to speak on behalf of anybody else, but from your point of view,
Sure.
How has that impacted you and your working relationship with other people here?
Well, I took a very abbreviated quiz during that leadership, and the personalities are divided, you can help me out here, into different letters. And Ryan was a high C, which means he's very task-oriented. And my test was a high S, a high I with a secondary S, which means I'm more of a people person. So I think that Ryan and I balanced out very well with that. And I see that leadership in him. Yeah, I think that I forgot the question now.
No, yeah, I think you answered it perfectly.
Did
I think it's one thing to say, hey, we do these trainings, we do these courses, we take these webinars, whatever it might be. But if you don't actually see it applied and lived out in your day-to-day actions, then there's no point in doing the courses and doing the training. So I think you did a really good job answering the question of, hey, do you see this played out? And the fact that this is how we counterbalance each other. Do we think the same exact way? No, we don't, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that you're able to think of things that maybe Ryan's not thinking of, or Ryan's thinking through things that you haven't thought of. I'm a high I as well. So I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, I got this idea and I want to run with it. And I need that person to say, okay, hang on, let's think this through just a second. And then there are other times where it's like, no, let's run for it. And he's all on board. So it's finding the right places and respecting. I think you said that before, respecting the other person. And Ryan, you mentioned this too, where they're at and who they are, and being able to approach them in that fashion. So no, you did a really good job answering that question.
Thank you.
Well done. Note that down for review. So
she's really improving over what was previously in her review. So,
well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You've got a town to run.
Thank you.
You've got a Ryan to manage and make sure he gets his stuff done. I'm going to end with one question, and this is an easy one. We talked about the last 25 years, the previous 25 years. Looking forward, what are some things that you're looking forward to?
Gosh, we've got some really exciting stuff going on. I mean, I'm excited. Dan Jones widening is something that I never anticipated in my lifetime that I would probably ever see the town do. And so seeing that first section done and knowing that we have 2 more sections, I'm really excited about that and how that changes some of the traffic situations in Avon. East and Gray, without a doubt, is a game changer for the town of Avon. And so we expect that to start this year and really start to take shape. Moving the town hall again, when I worked here in 1999, when they started building this town hall, at no point did I ever think to myself, boy, we're going to outgrow this building soon. And we're going to build a new government center, civic center that is going to be community focused and try to create an environment and a gathering place for our community. I wouldn't have envisioned that. I think we have a lot of exciting stuff we're doing with youth sports and trying to provide opportunity to kids in our community to be active and to have recreation. We're doing new parks. We're going to add a couple of new parks, hopefully over the next year and a half. And so we're hiring police officers. I mean, it's just
AvonIndiana.gov/police. Just throw that out there.
There's just so much good stuff going on in Avon. I'm really excited to be a part of it. Our team here in Avon is awesome. I love our staff. Like I said, we're not really employees. We're more of a family. And I think that shows up in our work and the way we approach things. And I think it's a value to the community. So
sounds good.
That was a long answer.
No, you're talking about stuff that you're excited about. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Congratulations, Ryan, on 25 years. Suzanne, thank you for being in here and sharing your insights and your thoughts. If you're looking for something to look forward to, and it's not East and Gray, and it's not sports, and it's not parks, I don't know what's wrong with you, but there is the new Avon Community Garden plots. That's going to be starting up here. Registrations, I believe, are actually open now. If you want to find more information about the Avon Community Garden plots, you can go to avonindiana.gov/community garden. Again, avonindiana.gov/community garden, and that will get you links and information and details about how that's going to work. Our Parks and Recreation team is heading that up, and it's going to be another neat ability to get the community out. And we are a tree community, so a tree city.
Tree City, USA.
So
baby.
This is another opportunity to get out there and plant something and watch it grow. So on behalf of everybody here, thanks for watching. We will see you soon. Is there anything else I'm supposed to say?
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. I'm still back in the video thing. Good catch. Well done. Jot that down in her review.
Got it.
All right.
She's killing it.
All right, everybody. Bye.